Well, then can you tell me exactly where he is?
Say, can you tell me where the pool's located?
Just, can you tell me why you think you have to do all this?
Can you tell me where you live?
Can you tell me what you saw?
Can you tell me the time, please?
Can you tell me specifically what happened?
Can you tell me if Elaine Dickinson is on this flight?
Yes. Could you tell me what that is on the buffet?
Could you tell me why you need so much of this particular material?
Could you tell me which room Charlie Litton is staying in, please?
Could you tell me which of these guys is Bruce Wayne?
Could you tell me where the bathroom is, please?
Could you tell me where he is?
Could you tell me the answer to something I'm asking you?
What? Do you have any idea what you just did?
Do you have any idea why those men were after you?
Do you have any idea who it might be?
Do you have any idea where you're going?
Do you have any idea where they went?
Do you have any idea what you put me through?
Do you have any idea what time it is?
Mm-hmm. Late.
Do you have any idea what they were arguing about?
Do you have any idea what the cost is on this?
Do you have any idea what he's asking you to risk?
Well, do you have any idea of what I should do with it or what it's worth?
Do you have any idea how exacting these calculations have to be?
Del, do you have any idea where I could find Buddy?
Hey! Hey! Hello? Do you know if this train goes to Madison Avenue? Hey, do you know what we're gonna do today?
What?
Do you know why or how?
Do you know who I am?
You know who he's talking about?
Do you know where they go?
Do you know what's going on? Maybe it's another drill.
Do you know what I think you guys should do?
Do you know I used to be very funny?
Do you know how many sessions she's gonna have to have?
Do you know how I knew your name was Doc?
Yes. I'd like to know more about him.
I'd like to know your reasons.
I'd like to know why you did it.
I'd like to know where he goes every night.
I'd like to know what's going on.
I'd like to know what Maya thinks.
I'd like to know what kind of program you're talking about, Doctor.
I'd like to know what caused that noise.
I'd like to know the truth about Mary, my student, your niece.
I'd like to know more about your son.
Certainly.
Because I'd like to know about it now.
And I'd like to know why it's being removed.
And I'd like to know what they are.
We are calling to find out what's going on. There's like...
Look, Jake, I'm calling to find out about you.
Jesus Christ, Polly, spare me the history lesson, okay? I'm just calling to find out if there's any news from Pippi.
Just calling to find out how Nelson's doing.
I'm calling to find out the names of the two janitors that pulled the time capsule out of the ground yesterday at the ceremony.
I'm calling to find out exactly what I need to do to make arrangements for the next step.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, I was just calling to find out if you got my flowers. Your flowers.
Mrs. Grant, I'm just calling to find...
See, I'm calling to find out what Rebecca's favorite song.
Yes, indeed. I was wondering what they were made of.
I was wondering where you were last night.
I was wondering when you were going to make this call.
I was wondering if you want to visit my mama.
I was wondering if you'd found a buyer for my naval print.
I was wondering if you could, do me a favor, sir.
I was wondering if we could use neutral passports.
I was wondering if I could use your phone.
I was wondering if I could buy you lunch.
I was wondering how we ended up with 6.
I was wondering if you could give me a ride.
Sure.
Hey, man! Hey, listen, I was wondering if you might help me, huh?
Excuse me, I was wondering if you might help me. I'm new.
Excuse me, I was wondering if we can maybe just check again.
Arms.
Excuse me, I was wondering if I can ask you a question about an engagement ring.
Would you happen to know where he went?
Would you happen to know the way to the pawn shop?
Would you happen to know how to get to the mystery site?
Would you happen to know anything about that?
Say, would you happen to know Simon's computer password?
Say, would you happen to know a good place for lunch in the downtown area?
Ma'am, would you happen to know anything about a drug called Pergonal?
Would you happen to know the Culpeppers by any chance?
Would you happen to know where table 9 is?
Would you happen to know where she was?
Would you happen to know where I might find him?
Would you happen to know where Lieutenant Hoskins is?
Would you happen to know where he's getting married?
Would you happen to know anything about that?
Would you happen to know a song called The Gobble Wobble?
Well, I don't suppose you know of a ladies' room hereabouts.
I don't suppose you know your password.
I don't suppose you know where the little wrangler's room is in this place, do you?
I don't suppose you know where he went. I don't suppose you know where.
I don't suppose you could tell what kind of flower these are, could you?
I don't suppose that you're familiar with the poems of Alastair Hooper.
I don't suppose you know of any rooms for rent, Mr. Speed.
I don't suppose you know how to drive it. The train, I mean.
I don't suppose you know how she wound up there.
Stanley.
I don't suppose you know anyone who might be interested in coming with me on my trip.
I don't suppose you know how to metal bend.
I am a shadmock. I don't suppose you know what that is.